Imagine waking up one ordinary morning and turning on the news, only to hear a single sentence that changes humanity forever. We are not alone. No rumors, no leaks, no conspiracy theories, but an official, undeniable announcement that extraterrestrial life has been in contact with Earth for decades. Now imagine that this revelation doesn't bring peace or wonder, but panic, political collapse, and a psychological breakdown across the world. That is the world Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. It is not just a science fiction movie. It is a global thought experiment. It asks a terrifying question. If truth finally arrives, can humanity actually survive it? And the most interesting part is that the film never treats disclosure as the end of the story. It treats it as the beginning of chaos. Disclosure Day, directed by Steven Spielberg and released in June 2026, marks a powerful return of the filmmaker to large-scale science fiction storytelling, known for shaping alien cinema with films like E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Spielberg revisits the theme of extraterrestrial contact, but this time the tone is very different. Instead of wonder and innocence, this film is built on tension, suspicion, and political instability. The film stars Emily Blunt as Margaret Fairchild, a meteorologist whose life becomes entangled in a global phenomenon linked to unexplained alien signals and psychological disturbances. Alongside her is Josh O'Connor as Daniel Kellner, a cybersecurity expert and whistleblower who uncovers classified data suggesting decades of hidden extraterrestrial communication. Supporting them are powerful performances from Colin Firth and Coleman Domingo, both representing the institutional and political forces trying to control the narrative. What makes Disclosure Day unique is that it doesn't follow a traditional alien invasion structure. There are no giant battles, no city destruction set pieces in the usual sense. Instead, the film builds its tension through information: what is known, what is hidden, and what happens when those boundaries collapse. The film opens in a world already fragile. Governments are unstable, digital systems are overloaded with misinformation, and unexplained aerial phenomena have become part of everyday news cycles. People no longer ask if aliens exist. They ask why the truth is still being hidden. Emily Blunt's character, Margaret, is introduced as a grounded scientific professional, someone who believes in data, patterns, and measurable reality. But everything begins to shift when she experiences a strange on-air incident during a live broadcast. Her speech suddenly changes, switching into unknown languages, followed by fragmented messages that seem to carry hidden meaning. Meanwhile, Josh O'Connor's character, Daniel, discovers classified cybersecurity leaks suggesting that global governments have been tracking non-human intelligence for decades. His journey begins as a technical investigation, but quickly turns into a survival situation as powerful institutions begin monitoring his movements. This dual narrative, one grounded in science, the other in cyber investigation, forms the backbone of the film. It creates two different perspectives of the same truth slowly unfolding. The turning point of the film is the official announcement itself, the moment referred to as Disclosure Day. Without warning, multiple governments simultaneously confirm the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence and past contact events that were previously denied or concealed. But instead of bringing unity, this announcement fractures society instantly. Religious groups interpret it as prophecy fulfillment. Governments struggle to maintain control. Markets collapse temporarily. Social media becomes uncontrollable. And most importantly, ordinary people begin experiencing psychological disruptions, visions, auditory hallucinations, and unexplained cognitive changes. Margaret becomes one of the key focal points during this chaos. Her connection to the phenomenon deepens, suggesting she is not just witnessing disclosure, she is somehow part of it. Daniel, on the other hand, realizes that the disclosure itself may not be voluntary. It might be triggered or even manipulated by an unknown intelligence. This is where the film shifts from political thriller to existential mystery. At its core, Disclosure Day is not about aliens. It is about information and control. The film asks what happens when truth is no longer filtered through institutions. For decades, governments have controlled narratives about security, science, and even history. But what happens when that control is removed in a single moment? The film suggests that humanity is not not prepared for absolute truth. Instead of enlightenment, we get fragmentation. Instead of unity, we get chaos. And instead of clarity, we get competing versions of reality. Another major theme is perception itself. Margaret's experience suggests that contact with higher intelligence may not be physical, it may be cognitive. The idea that alien influence could alter language, memory, and thought raises disturbing implications about identity. If your thoughts are no longer entirely yours, what does that make you? Daniel's storyline represents the modern fear of surveillance and digital exposure. In a world where every system is interconnected, there is no true secrecy anymore. The film uses cybersecurity not just as a plot device, but as a metaphor for how fragile modern privacy really is. Visually, Spielberg takes a restrained but powerful approach. Instead of overwhelming CGI spectacle, the film uses atmospheric tension, wide landscapes, and cold institutional interiors. The camera often lingers on empty spaces, abandoned government rooms, silent control centers, and broadcast studios frozen in confusion. The color palette is intentionally muted, dominated by blues, grays, and sterile lighting, reinforcing the idea of a world losing emotional warmth as truth spreads. John Williams' score plays a crucial role in elevating the experience. Instead of heroic orchestration, the music leans into uncertainty, slow, haunting arrangements that feel more like signals than melodies. It almost feels like the score itself is trying to communicate something. Sound design is equally important. Static noise, distorted broadcasts, and fragmented audio transmissions are used repeatedly to create a sense of instability. Even silence is used as a weapon in certain scenes, making the audience sit in discomfort. Emily Blunt delivers one of the strongest performances in the film. Her character transforms from a rational scientist into someone struggling with reality itself. The gradual loss of certainty in her expressions and behavior is one of the most compelling arcs in the movie. Josh O'Connor's portrayal of Daniel is equally strong, representing paranoia, urgency, and moral conflict. He is not just running from authorities, he is running toward a truth that may destroy him. Colin Firth and Coleman Domingo represent institutional authority, but neither is written as purely villainous. Instead, they embody the moral complexity of control. Are they hiding the truth to protect humanity or to preserve power? This ambiguity is what keeps the film grounded. There are no simple heroes or villains, only different interpretations of survival. But for those interested in deeper themes, truth, perception, control, and human psychology, it offers a rich and unsettling experience. Spielberg doesn't answer the question of alien existence. Instead, he asks something far more disturbing. What if the truth itself is not something we are capable of understanding? And that question is what makes Disclosure Day stay in your mind long after the screen goes dark. That's my review of Disclosure Day. If you enjoyed this review, like, share, and subscribe for more movie reviews.